Have you ever met a woman who lives alone, fully embracing her independence and life? There's something undeniably magnetic about her. She radiates confidence, strength, and individuality. Women who live alone exude an energy that draws people toward them effortlessly. Today, we'll explore why these women are some of the most captivating people you'll encounter. They are comfortable with themselves. Living alone is often seen as a bold choice, especially for women. But it's one that fosters an incredible journey of self-discovery and growth. Women who live alone learn to truly become comfortable with themselves in ways that are hard to imagine when surrounded by constant noise and distractions. It's not just about having a space to themselves, it's about developing an unshakable connection with who they are. When you live alone, there's no one else to define your day, your mood, or your opinions. You wake up and go to bed with yourself. At first, this might feel unfamiliar, maybe even a little lonely, but over time, something magical happens. You begin to notice and embrace your own company. Instead of running away from solitude, you learn to see it as a gift. There's time to reflect on your thoughts without interruptions, and you're no longer afraid of being alone with them. The quiet moments allow you to ask yourself questions like, what do I really enjoy? What matters to me? In this process, women living alone discover their unique quirks and preferences. Maybe it's realizing how much they love reading late into the night or waking up at 6 a.m. to watch the sunrise in peace. Perhaps it's dancing in the living room to their favorite music without anyone judging. These small, seemingly insignificant moments build a foundation of self-awareness. Living alone allows a woman to understand her likes, dislikes, and habits without compromise. There's no need to adjust to someone else's routine or expectations, and that freedom creates a deep sense of inner peace. Over time, this self-acceptance turns into confidence. A woman who lives alone knows how to take care of herself, not just in practical ways like fixing a leaky faucet or budgeting, but emotionally too. She doesn't rely on external validation to feel good about herself because she's learned to rely on her own strength. When you're alone, you learn how to cheer yourself up after a bad day, how to celebrate small victories without waiting for someone else's applause, and how to be kind to yourself during tough times. This ability to self-soothe and find happiness from within makes her truly magnetic to others. Imagine meeting someone who doesn't need anyone else to feel whole. Instead of trying to fit into a mold or impress others, she simply is herself. That calm, unshakable confidence is not only beautiful but contagious. It inspires people around her to feel at ease too. She doesn't rely on relationships, friendships, or outside opinions to define her worth. Instead, she brings her best self into those connections because she already knows who she is and what she wants. Women who live alone also learn to embrace imperfection. Living solo means things won't always go as planned, but they figure it out. A small mistake isn't the end of the world. It's just another opportunity to grow. This mindset makes them grounded and resilient. They're comfortable with the idea that life doesn't need to be perfect, and that's what makes them so real and relatable. Ultimately, a woman who lives alone has mastered something that many people spend their whole lives searching for: the ability to love herself exactly as she is. She enjoys her own company because she has built a home within herself, one that's filled with peace, joy, and authenticity. And that's what makes her so captivating. Whether she's alone or in a room full of people, her presence feels calm, magnetic, and inspiring. She reminds us all that being comfortable with yourself is the most beautiful thing you can be. They embrace independence. When a woman lives alone, independence isn't just a choice, it becomes a way of life. She learns to rely on herself in ways she may never have imagined before. There's no one else to lean on for the little things, like changing a light bulb or assembling furniture, and certainly no one to make the big decisions for her. It's all on her shoulders, but instead of feeling weighed down, she rises to the challenge. Every small win and every hard-fought solution adds to her sense of self-reliance. At first, this journey into independence can feel overwhelming. Society often teaches women to look for someone to help or protect them, but a woman who lives alone discovers that she's more capable than she ever gave herself credit for. If something breaks in her home, she doesn't sit and wait for someone to come fix it. She rolls up her sleeves and finds a way to handle it herself. Maybe she watches a tutorial, maybe she asks questions, or maybe she just figures it out through trial and error. And when she gets it done, whether it's unclogging a drain or hanging a shelf, there's a pride that comes with that victory. This sense of accomplishment grows into a quiet, unshakable confidence. She knows that she doesn't need someone to take care of her because she can take care of herself. Managing finances becomes another realm where her independence shines. She learns how to budget, save, and plan for her future. Whether it's paying bills on time, saving for a trip, or making a big purchase, she does it on her own terms. There's an incredible power in realizing that she controls her own life and that her financial security is in her hands. It teaches her responsibility and gives her freedom. Major life decisions, those are hers to make too. Living alone means she doesn't have to compromise or ask for anyone's approval when deciding where to live, what job to take, or even how to spend her weekends. She learns to trust her gut and listen to her own voice. It's not always easy, self-doubt creeps in as it does for everyone, but she becomes her own biggest cheerleader. She knows that if she makes mistakes, she'll learn from them, and if she succeeds, the credit is entirely hers. The independence of a woman who lives alone isn't just practical, it's deeply emotional and spiritual too. She learns that her happiness doesn't depend on anyone else. She's free to explore who she is without outside influence. She can chase her dreams, try new things, and create a life that reflects her values and desires. That kind of freedom is contagious. People around her are inspired because she's living proof that a woman can thrive on her own. And here's the beautiful part. Her independence isn't intimidating. It's magnetic. She doesn't push others away. Instead, she shows them what's possible when you trust yourself and take charge of your own life. She reminds us all that true strength comes from within. Her independence is not about rejecting help or love from others. It's about knowing that she doesn't need it to survive. She's strong because she chooses to be. In the end, a woman who embraces independence sets a powerful example. She's proof that resilience, courage, and self-sufficiency are not qualities reserved for a few. They're accessible to anyone willing to take the leap, and in her quiet strength, she inspires everyone around her to embrace their own independence too. They set boundaries and value their space. Living alone teaches a woman the importance of setting boundaries and valuing her space in ways that are both empowering and life-changing. When you live alone, your home becomes more than just a place to eat and sleep. It becomes your sanctuary, a reflection of your mind, and a space to nurture your peace. For women who embrace this lifestyle, creating boundaries isn't about shutting people out. It's about recognizing their own worth and prioritizing their well-being, something we all need but often forget to do. A woman living alone learns early on that her space, both physical and emotional, holds value. Her home is her safe haven, a place where she feels completely herself without judgment or interruptions. She gets to decide how it looks, how it feels, and who gets to step into it. She doesn't have to apologize for needing quiet time or for wanting to unwind after a long day. It's in these moments that she builds a relationship with her space that's deeply personal and sacred. The beauty of living alone is that she's free to curate her environment so that it brings her peace, inspiration, and joy. Whether it's lighting candles, reading a book in silence, or dancing to music at full volume, she owns that space, and it reflects her needs and energy. This relationship with her physical surroundings naturally translates into emotional boundaries as well. A woman who lives alone learns how important it is to protect her peace. When she's spent enough time prioritizing her own well-being, she begins to recognize what drains her energy and what fills her cup. She becomes skilled at saying no to things that don't serve her, whether that's declining an invitation to an event she doesn't want to attend, stepping away from toxic relationships, or refusing to overextend herself at work. Saying no isn't easy for everyone, but women who live alone learn that it's not selfish. It's necessary. By setting boundaries, she teaches others how to treat her. People begin to admire the way she respects herself and prioritizes her needs. This quiet confidence sends a powerful message. I know my worth, and I won't compromise it. That kind of clarity inspires others to rethink their own boundaries too. It's a ripple effect. Watching someone protect their peace and stand firm in their values encourages others to ask themselves, am I doing the same for myself? At its core, living alone gives a woman the time and space to truly listen to herself. Without distractions, she understands her limits and what makes her happy. She becomes more attuned to her emotions and learns to say, this is what I need right now. Whether that means alone time, a quiet weekend at home, or time spent with the right people, she doesn't feel guilty for prioritizing herself. In a world that constantly demands our attention, this ability to set boundaries becomes a superpower. It allows her to live authentically, making space for what truly matters, her growth, her dreams, and her peace of mind. And this, more than anything, makes her presence magnetic. A woman who values her space teaches us all an important lesson, that protecting your energy and setting boundaries isn't about building walls, but about creating room for the life you deserve. They are masters of solitude, not loneliness. There is a world of difference between being alone and feeling lonely, and women who live alone understand this distinction better than most. They are masters of solitude, turning alone time into something beautiful, peaceful, and productive. Solitude for them is not a burden, but a gift. It's a space where they can connect deeply with themselves, recharge, and nurture their dreams. While many people fear being alone, women who embrace solitude learn that it holds the key to personal growth, creativity, and a sense of inner peace. At first glance, solitude can seem daunting. It's quiet, it's still. There's no one to fill the silence. But women who live alone have discovered that this silence is where magic happens. It's where they start to hear themselves more clearly, their thoughts, desires, and the whispers of their inner voice. When life is busy or noisy, it's easy to lose touch with what you truly want. But solitude gives them the opportunity to pause and ask themselves, how do I feel? What makes me happy? What do I want to create? Instead of fearing the stillness, they lean into it. They find joy in small moments, curling up with a book, journaling, cooking for themselves, or simply sitting in a sunny corner of their home and letting the world slow down. It's in these moments that they discover how nourishing their own company can be. They learn to be present in their own lives, not just filling time with distractions, but genuinely appreciating the beauty of solitude. For these women, solitude is a canvas for creativity. It's where their best ideas come to life. Whether it's starting a new project, pursuing a passion, or learning a new skill, they use their alone time to explore the things they love. Without anyone else's opinions or interruptions, they have the freedom to express themselves fully. They might paint, write, garden, or pick up a musical instrument, whatever feeds their soul. This relationship with solitude becomes an endless source of inspiration. Beyond creativity, solitude is also about rest and restoration. Women who live alone know the importance of taking time to recharge. Life can be exhausting, and constant interaction can drain our energy. Solitude allows them to step away from the world for a while and take care of themselves. They might spend a quiet evening meditating, watching a favorite movie, or simply breathing in the calm of their space. This rest isn't laziness. It's a way of showing themselves love and care. The beauty of mastering solitude is that it creates a peaceful aura that others can feel. When a woman is comfortable being alone, she radiates a sense of calm confidence. She doesn't cling to relationships out of fear of loneliness. She doesn't need to constantly surround herself with people to feel worthy or complete. Instead, she chooses her connections intentionally, bringing her best, most authentic self into every interaction. This peaceful energy draws people toward her. There's something captivating about a woman who doesn't rely on others to fill her time or validate her existence. She is whole on her own, and that makes her presence truly magnetic. People are inspired by her ability to enjoy her own company and to create a life that feels fulfilling, even when no one else is around. In mastering solitude, women who live alone teach a powerful lesson. Being alone doesn't have to mean being lonely. Solitude is where you find yourself, where you grow, and where you build a life that's rooted in authenticity and peace. It's not about isolation. It's about choosing to love your own company and recognizing that you are enough, exactly as you are. They pursue their passions unapologetically. When a woman lives alone, she unlocks a kind of freedom that allows her to pursue her passions without hesitation or compromise. In a world that often demands women to prioritize others before themselves, living alone creates the space to focus on what truly sets their soul on fire. Whether it's exploring new places, starting a creative project, building a business, or prioritizing health and fitness, women who embrace solo living often lead lives that are rich with purpose and joy. The beauty of living alone is that it eliminates many of the distractions and obligations that can pull people away from their dreams. There's no need to ask for permission or wait for someone else's schedule to align. If she feels like waking up at sunrise to go for a run, she does it. If she wants to spend an entire weekend painting, writing, or learning a new skill, she can without interruption. Living alone gives her the freedom to invest time in herself, to chase what excites her, and to build a life that feels fulfilling on her own terms. This pursuit of passion often starts small, maybe with an idea, a curiosity, or something she's always wanted to try but never made time for before. Without anyone else's expectations or demands to hold her back, she takes that first step. Over time, this exploration turns into a fire inside her. Whether it's dancing, photography, cooking, or building a career she loves, she dives into it wholeheartedly. Her time is hers, and she uses it to grow and evolve. For many women who live alone, their passions also serve as a bridge to their deeper selves. When they pour their energy into what they love, they discover new parts of themselves, strengths they didn't know they had, talents they had overlooked, and dreams they had forgotten. A woman who starts a fitness journey, for example, may discover not only physical strength, but also discipline and self-confidence. A woman who begins writing or painting may uncover stories and emotions that she didn't even know were inside her. This passion-filled life isn't about perfection, it's about joy and fulfillment. Living alone teaches women that it's okay to follow what excites them, even if no one else understands it. They don't need approval or validation to pursue what makes their hearts sing. By doing this, they create lives that are vibrant and meaningful, lives that inspire others to do the same. When you meet a woman who lives alone and unapologetically pursues her passions, you can feel her energy. It's contagious. Her enthusiasm, dedication, and sense of purpose draw people toward her. She doesn't wait for the right time or the right people to chase her dreams. She takes charge and makes it happen. Watching her live so fully and authentically inspires everyone around her to ask themselves, "What lights me up? What am I waiting for?" Her life becomes a reminder that it's never too late to start something new, and that we're all allowed to live with purpose and joy. She teaches us that pursuing passions isn't a luxury, it's a necessity for a life well lived. Women who live alone show us the beauty of living without compromise, of prioritizing what makes us feel alive, and of boldly going after what we love. In doing so, they not only fulfill their own dreams, but also inspire others to do the same. They build strong, meaningful connections. Women who live alone often have a special understanding of the value of genuine connections. With no distractions at home and plenty of time to reflect, they develop a deep awareness of the relationships that truly matter. Instead of filling their lives with superficial friendships or one-sided bonds, they choose to invest their time and energy into people who bring love, joy, and meaning into their lives. This intentional approach allows them to build stronger, more authentic connections, relationships built on care, trust, and mutual respect. Living alone gives women the unique opportunity to evaluate the relationships in their lives. When they are alone in their space, they aren't surrounded by constant noise or pressure to please others. Instead, they have the clarity to ask themselves important questions. Who makes me feel valued? Who do I trust? Who brings peace into my life? By asking these questions, they learn to prioritize people who uplift them and let go of relationships that drain their energy or make them feel small. This self-awareness allows them to approach their friendships, family ties, and romantic relationships with intention. Because they're selective with how they spend their time, the connections they choose to nurture are deeply meaningful. They're not looking to fill empty spaces in their lives. They're looking for relationships that add richness and purpose. Whether it's an old friend who truly gets them, a family member who provides unwavering support, or a partner who respects their independence, they gravitate toward connections that feel real. Women who live alone also bring a unique presence to their relationships. Having spent so much time in their own company, they've learned to be great listeners, compassionate friends, and supportive partners. They understand the importance of quality time and how meaningful it is to be truly present with someone. When they spend time with the people they care about, they do so wholeheartedly, without distractions, obligations, or resentment. Their independence and self-sufficiency also mean that their relationships are built on a foundation of mutual respect, not neediness. They don't rely on others to make them feel complete or validated, and this makes their bonds stronger. A woman who lives alone doesn't ask others to fill a void because she's already whole on her own. Instead, she seeks relationships where two people can grow together, support each other, and celebrate life side by side. Because of this, her relationships often have a unique depth. Her friends know that when they need someone to talk to, she'll be there to listen without judgment. Her family knows that she values them because every phone call, visit, or message comes from a place of love, not obligation. And in romantic relationships, she brings a rare blend of strength and vulnerability, someone who values her independence but isn't afraid to open her heart when the right connection comes along. This ability to build meaningful relationships doesn't happen by accident. It comes from a woman who has spent time understanding herself, recognizing her worth, and setting clear boundaries. She knows what she will and won't tolerate in relationships, and this self-respect teaches others how to treat her. She surrounds herself with people who love her for who she is, people who celebrate her strength, support her dreams, and bring out the best in her. Ultimately, women who live alone show us the beauty of connection. They remind us that relationships aren't about quantity, but about quality. They choose their friendships, family ties, and partners intentionally, making every bond they nurture feel special and true. Their lives are filled with people who matter, and this makes their presence magnetic. Being around them feels like a gift, because they show us how love, respect, and authenticity can transform relationships into something extraordinary. They have a deep sense of personal freedom. Women who live alone experience a deep sense of personal freedom, a gift that allows them to shape their lives exactly as they choose. Free from the expectations, judgments, or pressures that often come from living with others, they learn to make decisions based on what truly makes them happy. This freedom gives them the ability to live authentically, creating a life that feels fulfilling, inspiring, and uniquely their own. This kind of independence is magnetic, as it shows others that it's possible to live a life that aligns with your truest self. When a woman lives alone, she becomes the sole architect of her days. She gets to decide how her mornings begin and how her evenings wind down, free of anyone else's schedule or preferences. If she wants to wake up early and meditate, she can. If she wants to stay up late, watching her favorite movies, she does so without apology. Her time is hers, and this autonomy allows her to tune into her own rhythm, understanding what makes her feel most alive. She doesn't have to compromise or explain herself. She simply follows her instincts and makes space for what brings her joy. Her living space, too, becomes an extension of her freedom. Every corner of her home reflects her personality, her tastes, and her needs. Whether it's a minimalist sanctuary with clean lines and neutral tones or a colorful, art-filled haven bursting with energy, she shapes her environment to suit herself. She decides how it feels, cozy, vibrant, peaceful, or inspiring. Her home becomes a place where she can breathe freely, knowing that it is truly hers. In creating this space, she sends a message to the world. I deserve to live in a way that feels right for me. This personal freedom also allows her to chase her goals without hesitation. Women who live alone are often fearless when it comes to pursuing their dreams because they are used to taking charge of their own lives. Whether it's starting a new career, traveling solo, or learning a new skill, they embrace opportunities without waiting for anyone's permission or approval. Their independence gives them the confidence to take risks, explore new ideas, and challenge themselves in ways that others might shy away from. They know that their happiness is their own responsibility, and they fully own that power. Living alone also shields women from many of society's unnecessary pressures. They step away from outdated ideas of how they should live, who they should be with, or what milestones they should achieve. Instead, they rewrite the rules. They define success on their own terms and celebrate their choices without guilt or comparison. This rejection of societal expectations allows them to embrace their individuality and live a life that feels honest and true. When you meet a woman who lives with this kind of freedom, you can't help but notice her energy. There's something undeniably magnetic about a woman who chooses to live for herself, who isn't afraid to prioritize her happiness, dreams, and well-being. She carries herself with confidence and ease, showing the world that it's possible to build a life you love, free of outside limitations. This deep sense of personal freedom inspires others to look at their own lives and ask, what would I do if I stopped worrying about what others think? It's a powerful reminder that we all have the ability to shape our lives in a way that feels right for us. Women who live alone lead by example, showing that true freedom comes from embracing who you are, pursuing what you love, and living on your own terms. In doing so, they radiate an authenticity that is both rare and magnetic, a quiet strength that reminds everyone they meet of the beauty of living fully, freely, and unapologetically. They redefine what strength looks like. Strength is often misunderstood as something loud, visible, or forceful, but women who live alone show us that strength can be quiet, graceful, and deeply steady. It's not always about big displays of power. Sometimes it's about resilience, self-reliance, and the ability to create a fulfilling life despite challenges. Women who thrive on their own embody this strength beautifully. They don't shout about their independence or boast about their accomplishments, but you can feel their strength in the way they carry themselves, the choices they make, and the peace they exude. When a woman lives alone, she faces life head-on. There's no one else to lean on for daily decisions, no one to shield her from difficulties or fix her problems. If something breaks in her home, she learns to fix it. If her career takes a difficult turn, She takes the steps to rebuild. When she's unwell, she cares for herself with kindness and determination. Living alone forces her to develop an inner strength that is quiet but unshakable. She becomes her own provider, caretaker, and problem solver, proving to herself every day that she is more capable than she might have thought. This strength is built gradually, often through small victories that the world might not even notice. She might learn to hang shelves on her own, manage her finances wisely, or push herself to try something new that feels intimidating. With each success, no matter how minor, her confidence grows. Over time, she becomes a woman who knows she can rely on herself, and that belief in her own abilities is what makes her so inspiring. She doesn't depend on anyone else to make her feel secure or complete, because she has learned to stand firmly on her own 2 feet. However, her strength doesn't come from an absence of struggles. In fact, it's in facing challenges that her resilience shines brightest. Life isn't always easy, but women who live alone don't crumble under pressure. They adapt, learn, and keep moving forward with a quiet determination. Whether it's overcoming loneliness, dealing with setbacks, or navigating unexpected difficulties, they approach these moments with courage. Their ability to bounce back, even stronger than before, is what makes their strength so magnetic. This type of strength isn't boastful or arrogant. It's not about proving something to the world. It's about proving something to themselves. Women who live alone don't need to put on a show or seek validation from others. Their strength is internal, rooted in self-trust, self-respect, and an unwavering belief that they can handle whatever life brings their way. This calm, graceful approach to life sets an example for everyone around them, showing that strength doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. People are naturally drawn to this kind of strength. When you see a woman who thrives on her own, there's something quietly inspiring about her. She redefines what it means to be strong, not as someone who dominates or boasts, but as someone who remains steady, grounded, and at peace with herself. Her strength is magnetic because it's real, earned through experience and self-discovery. It reminds us all that we, too, can face challenges with grace and build a life that we're proud of. At its core, the strength of a woman who lives alone is a beautiful balance of independence and grace. She shows us that strength isn't about perfection or always having the answers. It's about showing up for yourself, trusting in your ability to grow, and finding peace in your own company. She redefines strength as something soft yet powerful, quiet yet deeply moving, a kind of strength that inspires everyone who crosses her path. Conclusion: women who live alone are magnetic because they've cultivated lives full of intention, independence, and self-love. They remind us all that solitude can be empowering, freedom can be beautiful, and being your authentic self is the most attractive quality of all. So, the next time you meet a woman who lives alone, take a moment to appreciate the strength and magic she radiates, because she's a testament to living life on her own terms.